Hello, this is Dave Sugarbaker, and the date today is July 23rd, 2023. And the scriptures I have for you today are very brief. They're two-liners from Proverbs. Now, any proverb you find in the Bible is probably a two-liner. There's first line, second line backs it up. So first from Proverbs 14, whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly. And the second one is 2 chapters later, and it's from the 16th chapter. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city. My car needed a yearly service, and it was overdue. And I made an appointment in Cincinnati, and on Monday of this week, I took the car in for its yearly service. I expected an oil change, and there had been some error messages on the car's computer about something or another, so I wanted to get the people to check it out. These cars today are computerized, and I thought if the right person asks the right question of the car will tell us what the problem is. The feedback from the car's computer was that the fuel mixture going into the pistons was richer than it should be. Okay? Thus began the day. I had brought a book to read on my Kindle. 6 hours later, my Kindle battery ran out, and I was still waiting for the car to be finished. They had done test after test to narrow down the problem in my engine. The engine light was on, and it's not a nice way to drive your car with the engine light on. I was told that a yellow engine light was okay to drive, but a red one, oh, that'd be too much. You shouldn't really drive it at all. But this was yellow. It had been yellow for more than a year. So they were still putting things back together in my engine as the first of the shop employees were leaving for the day at 4 something, and they continued to assure me that my car would be ready soon. As far as I was concerned, it was already too late to be soon. My blood sugar was bottoming out, and I was tired of sitting in their waiting room. Finally, the car was ready, and I thanked the shop people, and I headed out of the parking lot for home. I was going to have to bring the car back this next week for more work, but they felt, figured out what the problem was. I got as far as the second traffic light, and then the car began running rough, as if it were missing a cylinder. And on the computer screen in the car, all of a sudden, drivetrain malfunction came on. And so I pulled over, I called the shop, and they advised me to return the car to them. There was obviously more wrong with the car as I drove it out of there than there had been when I delivered it to them that morning. The shop people, at least those that were left late in the day, suggested that I leave my car with them. The next problem for me was, how do I get home? After some quick calls to the owner of the shop, the remaining crew offered me an old restored vehicle. It had 173,000 miles on it, but it was supposedly in good shape, and I could drive it until mine was put back together in good shape. So I thanked them again and left a second time, looking forward to a stop at United Dairy Farmers convenience store to get some ice cream for my cratering sugar problem. This time I drove 6 blocks when the engine light came on the loaner. I called the shop again to report the engine light coming on, and I thought I was going to have to go back to the shop again. But after some minutes of consultation and calling the owner about this old car, they said, just drive the thing and ignore the light. So I did. I made it to UDF and I got a peach shake, which was just what I needed. But in the meantime, I discovered that the loaner car had been given to me without much gas in it, and it needed gas badly. The counter staff at UDF said that their pumps didn't take credit cards, that I would have to charge the gas inside before pumping it, and how much gas would I like? Well, I said I wanted to fill the tank, but I didn't know how much it was going to be. And this boggled their minds. They couldn't figure out how to proceed. And so in frustration, I thanked them again for the ice cream and I left, hoping to find another service station down the road, but I left my credit card on the counter. So I made it to the next service station, barely, and discovered then that I didn't have my credit card. I filled up the loaner car using another card and returned to the UDF where I had left my card in the first place. It seems like I was leaving places and then going back to them again, leaving places and going back again. They knew nothing of my lost card. They didn't know anything about it. It was news to them that I'd left it on the counter. So I thanked them for the peach shake and I headed for home. I knew I was going to have to report the card as lost, but the number to call was on the lost card. I called Elaine and I confessed to losing the card, and she gave me the number to call. And as I drove, I called the customer service number and got a computer. It asked me for not the last four of my social, but the last four of Elaine's social. And I think I got it right. But when the computer searched for someone with that number, it said it couldn't find anybody with that number. At that point, I hung up. I did not thank the computer. I had a recurring thought throughout this process. Is the universe trying to teach me something about patience? When I got home, I decided to ask Webster to define patience. And when I got online, I typed in my question. It said, patience is the act of being patient. So, well, that was not too helpful. I looked up patient. Patient is bearing pains or trials calmly or without complaint, manifesting forbearance under provocation or strain, not hasty or impetuous, steadfast despite opposition, difficulty, or adversity. Okay, that's helpful. One thing that I know is that it's important for me not to take out my frustrations on other human beings. I don't yell at people if I'm frustrated. Steam may come out of my ears, but I don't yell at people if I'm frustrated. On the other hand, I will yell at computers, especially those automated voices answering the phone at credit card companies. Proverbs says, "Whoever is patient has great understanding, but one who is quick-tempered displays folly." For me, it's not so much a matter of great understanding. I don't want to take out my frustrations on other people. When things go sideways, I've learned over time to ask myself, who owns this problem? If it's not my problem, then I can move on to other matters. If it is my problem, if it's my circus and my monkeys, then I have to deal with it. I can't disown the problem and farm it out to others to solve. It's my problem. If I'm frustrated, it's my life and my problem. It's a matter of fairness and justice. I have to deal with what's mine. I've collected a few pieces of wisdom on patience, and I'm going to share them with you in closing. David G. Allen says, patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than you have in mind. Aristotle says, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Leo Tolstoy says, everything comes in time to him who knows how to wait. There's nothing stronger than these two, patience and time. They will do it all. Pete Hine says this, put up in a place where it's easy to see the cryptic admonishment, T, T, T. And when you feel how depressingly slow you climb, it is well to remember that things take time. And lastly, Vera Nazarian says, patience is not a virtue, it's an achievement. Now, thank you for your time to listen to this. If you find value here, I'd appreciate it if you'd pass it along. And stay safe, and God bless.